I feel as much as the day when the Prime Minister launched the Startup Action Plan, uh, I feel as invigorated being here today as I was when I was with the Prime Minister when he launched it. And why is that so? Because I think necessarily as a follow-up, we want to be in touch with what was developing the ground, and I didn't have to go and choose one startup to see what is happening, but this is the place where the ecosystem can be felt straight, like as though a doctor feels the pulse of the patient. And here, coming here to see it and also to get a feel from all of you all, from where it happens, from where it all happens, just means a lot to me, and also for me to get the inputs from you all so that I go back and like the suggestion which has just come, the clarification which was sought, there are ever so many points which are going to emerge from today. When the action plan was launched, we didn't launch thinking, oh, we know it all. And I think the Prime Minister also said this that day. We made a beginning, and obviously as we go along, and this is a very dynamic area of activity with all the young blood, we want the inputs to keep coming. And when the inputs keep coming, there are two boxes largely that I'm putting them into. One of which instantly I may be able to do within the ministry, within the department which handles startup. The other, the box where I might have to go back for interministerial consultation for anything that which has more than my ministries, that which pertains to more than my ministry's realm. So I may not be able to give you answers for everything that you raised today, but I can assure you I'll go back to get the answers where I don't have one today. So essentially today is necessarily a follow-up to be sure that we are on the right track, to be sure that if there are things which have to be done as course correction, we do it immediately. So we want to go along with you, and in the process I want to make it plain that we are here only as facilitators. And facilitating means that we have to go along with the time too. As we move along, if there is something else which has to be changed, which has to be tweaked in your favor, we'll do that. So without retracting my initial remarks, I'd like to hear from all of you.
One of the biggest problems in revitalizing the legal industry in the country today, that lawyers who are in millions are not allowed to have a company on their own. So if I am a lawyer, I cannot have a private limited by law. So this is one of the biggest hurdles for legal industry to revitalize, because lawyers who know most about the problems within the industries cannot firstly have a company, or even if they don't have a company, if I'm a young lawyer, I cannot advertise my services. So someone who's at the top of the pyramid by legitimacy gets all the benefit, because I cannot penetrate the market through Facebook or even a website. And I think recently the Bar Council allowed lawyers to have a very informational website. So these are the few hurdles which are there because of the Bar Council and Advocates Act. So I thought I'll just give you this suggestion.
Did you say you're a lawyer yourself?
Yes.
But lawyers are allowed to have partnership companies.
Yes,
right?
but not
companies per se.
Yeah, not partnership companies for law firms. But
That's
I cannot have a private limited doing something else if I have an idea.
That defeats the very intention with which that law was, that requirement was brought in.
Yes.
Because if you start having a company and start making profits, as it were, not that you don't otherwise.
Yes. I know everyone is making profits, but I just thought it's a suggestion, not that I have anything.
I represent the Asian Heritage Foundation, and we've been working in the sector of creative and cultural industries. And over the past 5 years, we've done a lot of work with the World Bank in developing clusters to empower the craftspeople and artisans at the bottom of the pyramid. Now, I have two questions, one from the perspective of the startup initiative and one for your ministry as a whole. The first one, when we talk of startup, I think what requires restarting is the traditional skills which are now dying out. And it requires social capital, creative capital to give them new expression for finding place in markets world over. Now, is there an indicator or some parameters for such initiatives to find space in your startup initiative? That's the first question. And my second question is, you talk about synergies between various ministries, skill development, as you just mentioned. Now, government has come up with many initiatives, such as Skill India, Make in India. Now, India has a vast repository of content, which, if repositioned and repackaged, could create billions of livelihoods. So, create in India, taking Making in India look forward, creating in India is something that Commerce Ministry could facilitate and could anchor. What do you have to say about that?
I'm not sure if Commerce Ministry can anchor that, but facilitate, yes, we are open to it. But about artisans, about traditional skill, people with traditional skill and masters of traditional skills, I'm probably as lost as you are as to how we are going to be able to link them as a startup. That's not to say you can't, but you certainly need to have somebody think about it, because I know, and this is strange that I have to say this, but I know they've already benefited, not to say completely, they've already started getting the benefit of e-commerce. A lot of them are already being smart enough, and I'm happy for that, smart enough to benefit from e-commerce for the produce that they have. But on which dimension are we giving them? The contours of a startup is something I am not very clear about, and that doesn't mean there isn't a possibility. They can be. I'm probably not the right person for it, but we certainly can work on that and see how best that can be, because India has a large pool of traditional artisans who actually have not even bothered to patent things that they do, which today are being commercially benefited by people who are smart enough to do that. But absence of patent, therefore, is probably the reason why the benefits have not gone back to them. And is there a way in which we can systematize that? Give them the right of copyright or patent their work, or if there's a way in which they can be brought into the idea of a startup and then scaled up, that'll work. But that's somebody's job. I may not be the person to do that job. And once that job is done by somebody, maybe Commerce Ministry can facilitate. But Commerce cannot do it, because why should I do it only for that? I can then do everybody else's business and become the anchor for it.
First, I would like to really thank the government on the new patent policy which is emerged. For India to be a global hub to empower humanity, we need global Indian startups to have long-term sustainable advantage worldwide. For that, we need the patent system to be very strong in India and actually incentivized fully. That's how all the global economies are running. So I would like to just kind of give you a space where how the world is kind of, in our space it's occurring. So America is doing all the software patents, so it's become a software hub for the world. Europe is doing all the mechanical patents, or engineering patents, so they become the engineering hub for the world. And, they don't have software patents much. China was largely focused through financing. They were just doling out funds for every startup, and that's why they became the manufacturing hub, which is very investment driven. India did not have any of these spaces available so far. So it became the service hub. It doesn't require money, just people put people on tables and they just become the service hub. So now I think the great step which has been taken in this last budget is the patents have been incentivized in India for the first time, and there's a tax benefits, there are a lot of other benefits. One space we'd like to bring on board is if these patents right now, the previous government has done a lot of flip-flopping, they've done backward changes. So to rely on the policy and get funded is a little challenge. If a clarification could be sought in the sense that the incentive which is being rolled out, it's for the life of the patent, so that these patents can be encouraged. So then we have a global monopoly power in exporting goods and creating jobs in India. So that is one space. And second space is just recently, one thing has occurred in the background. In India, the government did, they had as such, computer programs were not patentable in India per se. However, a very broad, wrong interpretation has been taken recently by the controller of patents that any computer program, even if it is inventive, even if it changes something new, even if it has a new global implication of such a technology, it cannot be patented in India. It's a very extreme view which India has taken recently on patents, just in the software domain, which I think should be rolled back if we want to become a global power super hub on this space. So that is second. And ma'am, the third thing I would like to, sorry, I'm speaking for all, I hope, and if somebody doesn't agree, so just speak. The third thing, ma'am, is when we as a startup doing any contracts with any company, or if you do any corporate dealings, the legal contracts in India has no value because they cannot in the courts, even if you challenge those contracts, there will be no decision happening in next 10 years. So as such, any business transaction which is happening in India cannot be trusted. It's basically operating in good faith. So,
Could we just ask one question so that you can...
So there are 3 points. Actually, I'll just kind of stay with the patent side first. So maybe I can move on to the next one. Thank you.
As I said, you first 2 points relating to patents. First one relating to the issue of whether the patent, the concessions given are going to be for the patent's entire life, or is it going to be at the point in time when you restrict the patent. As I said, I just have to come back to you on that, and that's first point. Second, when you're talking about the CG's decision on patents, I'm not sure which one you're referring to. I certainly will have to go back to this. Again, something on which I'll come back to you. That's the second. And the third, very quickly, which you have finished, is about cases which go to the court and which hang on forever and you're never going to be. On that, I'm sure all of you are aware that the Parliament had a bill where we are going to get commercial benches set up in high courts, so that commercial disputes, which I guess is what you're in a way generously referring to, commercial disputes are now going to be handled by dedicated benches. So you're not going to have time consumed, otherwise which happens in other courts because of pendency and other issues. That's being taken care of.
One major concern which comes up when we go and work with big steel plants in industry is the process of certification. So everyone is going to ask for a certification from a recognized central agency before actually using your product. So now if you go to the certification, first of all, different ministries look for certification for different agencies. One. Second, the certification is expensive in some cases. Third, it takes a lot of time. So, we have developed the product. Now, going through that certification process takes as much time as to develop the product, right? So, can it be there some system that possibly just for the startups which are new and have some patented technology, you can like fast track the certification process? Not like complete it, but you test certain aspect that is safe in it.
I'm just sort of moving ahead, assuming I've understood your point. I may have not, you may correct me. And linking to the answer which they Yatin gave. See, that's where this co-workspace is defining work for itself. I'm willing to go that far to say the job of an incubator is fairly well understood. And you're right in saying this is what a co-workspace does, and we took it a bit further. I see a bit more of what a co-workspace can do for me here. For instance, take the example that you've given in your case. 3 broad headings with 3 bullets each. The first heading, the number of registering or certifying agencies you're going to go. Should you need to go to that many?
The point is you may have to get the certification from that many, but do you have to really have to go to all these, or can there just be one place from where you can be and one? So in the case of or the nature of the work that you are doing through your startup, if you need certification from Ministry A, Ministry C and Ministry E, I should know, let's say A, C and E. That's the first box. The second box, what does it entail in terms of money? To A, you're paying this much, to C, you're paying this much, and to E, you're paying that much. So a total of whatever. And then the third, once all this is arrived, if there is nothing else which is going to worry you, and that's all, good story for me. Or else a C, where even you're not familiar, but you brace it out of, this may come up later, but we are clear. Now in your profile, for instance, this workspace which is hosted you, is able to give me, as and when your point of view has come, or you reach the stage where you're not sure how you can go about it, or immediately want an intervention in cutting down the charges. If a profile comes from you, from the co-workspace which hosts you, and if I'm able to recognize a list of such co-workspaces, be them wherever they are in the country, I should be able to do something quickly, tangibly, in having my Startup India cell, which is in the Department of Industries, to respond to you, to say, maybe you don't need to go to all these 3 places. Virtually, if you send your forms, we'll see we can expedite for you. And set for ourselves a timeline, which I may not commit now. I need to talk to my team before I commit. I will commit after I do that. Then I'll also have to work out with the Finance Ministry to see if there is a way in which I can reduce this, waive some of them, or it's not going to be possible. But at least I hope to see if I can do that. So, if I can say, you want to be as much as an incubator, find a role in the government scheme of things, which will or will not have, I don't know, may or may not have financial implication. Assume it has financial implication. Assume that it means that the government may have to give you something to run the place, as much as you or less than what you put in. I don't know. In return, you could do something more than what just you're doing now. Create the profile of such issues, taking the example of a particular company, a particular registered startup, and get back to us, say, will you do something on this? And I can rapidly come back to you to see how much I can do, how far and how quickly I can do, and sort your problem to the extent that I can. I'm not going to say that every time you approach me, I'm going to waive all the fees totally. I'm also not going to say, well, you don't need to go for the permissions. If permissions are due by law, yes, but can I speed it up? Can I expedite it from the point of, can I also facilitate it from the point of view of you not having to run from one pillar to another?
I am Shivan. Actually, I have a question more of related to the smart cities again, specific to our technology which we are developing. I just wanted to know what's the progress going on in that field, and that we have a plan which can help the government expedite the process of smart cities. And that's a very huge plan. And how can we be a part of it? How can we approach government to be a part of it? Thanks.
I thought I sort of answered this earlier. Whether it's a question of a ready product which is available, let's say, for the environment, or a product which is available for the urban development industry, or a product which may be available and ready for dating. If there is a platform in which all these, the startup, that product which can be of use because either we are going to help in our international due diligence, or a product which is going to help in terms of your bettering the efficiency of organizations, or that which is readily available for what we think is going to make us smart city. If all this is somewhere, for me to say, when government policy is being made, can this be taken priority? Product of a smart startup be encouraged in government procurement? yours comes into it. Put it on the platform.
You're talking about a centralized platform where tenders, switch
Wait.
challenge methodologies, sort of, not exactly switch challenge, but like, switch challenge versus you.
No, I understand switch
I know, I
challenge.
understand. So it's something like that, right? So he has a product, he can pitch it.
No, I've not even gone that far. I'm talking of a yellow pages. I want something for bettering my commitments on environment. Can one of you all create a yellow page where I can go for the smart startup which is done and which has solutions for me as a government? And as a government, can I pick that solution up? Because, let us say, co-workspaces have recognized them, incubators have recognized them, that product is worthy, procure worthy. So I'm looking at the yellow pages for, let's say Dainty wants something which is going to help, or urban development wants something which is going to tell them, here's a product for my urban development smart city. Create an yellow pages of all that is possible as products which you fellows have created. But where do I go scrambling for it? I can only say, as a policy, I'll tell the government, give priority for startups and their products. But where do I get the report on it? Create a yellow pages, please.
First of all, thanks for coming here. Just speak about the responsiveness the government has. And we are your fans. Including all, Modi is taking this initiative. And there are two things emerging very clearly. One is how do we approach the government, and how we can get the sort of the government is what is coming out clearly. Now, when I say how do we approach the government, we have problems. All of us have problems. Frankly, we don't know where to go. You have a startup cell. I don't know where that startup cell exists. I'm sitting over here, when you were coming, I was preparing for a meeting, and I said, I need to know more about your startup cell. Frankly, being a startup, being a person who's been in the industry for long, it's very difficult to reach people out, who are the right people to go and where to go. So yes, ma'am, I know if I send to you, you will be responsive. This is the hallmark of your government, which you have been doing, and that's a very clear thing. But still, how do we take out our forum? What are the forum? What is the cell? What are the people who are responsible? That is one aspect. Second aspect is, there's so much government is doing. The point is, whatever government is doing, it is not percolating down the line to people who we are. I want to go with the labor ministry. I want to have something with the finance ministry. I have something with the technology side. And you are saying, okay, I will take it up. Somewhere at your level, because this all inter-ministerial thing which is there. I'm setting a platform which is a global platform. I have to go. I have set up my company in the US. Now, how do I become a, I want to be a Google of India, but for me, there are challenges which are support from the government side, and you are taking those efforts. How do that? I can partner with that. That is a big question mark for us, because we know if we have to grow, government can be a big enabler for us, and you are there for that. So these are my two points.
I take your point. From 21st April, in fact, on that day we'll be launching a Seva, a Twitter Seva, through which, and also the startup is also getting linked to it. Startup on its own is also one, which we've popularized now. Any startup which wants to access government, irrespective of the ministry, can approach by, tweeting about it. Depending on the issue, you may have to give a email ID. What we intend doing is for the few obvious ministries, corporate affairs, finance, labor and environment. I'm not saying I've tied it all up with them as yet. The process is on. But by 21st, we should have a place where you can virtually contact us, tell us your issues. We will have a team which will be dedicated for this purpose, who then divert that particular question by raising a ticket to that particular ministry. Wherein somebody is identified for this purpose, will respond to us. So effectively, we should be able to come back to you within 24 hours saying this is the reply. If that's not convincing enough, you can again put it back to us and we'll work. I'm starting it on 21st. I'm sure it will have teething problems, but I'm quite willing to amend as and when we go along. So, for startups to wonder where the startup cell is, I understand. But the startup cell is going to be at your keypad because the virtual startup cell is at your, alright? It's for you to contact. And I don't see at any point in time you needing a manual interface. But if really you want it, you can start it with me. I'll be accessible. And if after that you still want some manual access, you can always come over to some dedicated office and come meet up with whoever you want. Depends. If your issue is not sorted out with, let us say, example, labor, we'll try to put in a team of labor ministry officials who can straight deal with you, talk it out with you and sort it out. So instead of the team which is a team which can adapt to any situation and help you all in answering, instead meeting with you and then saying, all right, I'll put you to somebody else. Everything can go on your virtual, and then if you still need a human interface, we'll see who that team should be. Alright, so that should be available.
So I think how we're going to move forward is that we'll put everything on paper, send it across to you, number one. Number two, we'll also contact all the other co-workings, like us guys, Yatin and the other few more, and probably fix up a meeting with you and consolidated queries, everything, and probably then we'll take it up from there. And then perhaps also we'll make some kind of an association of co-working spaces started from Delhi and then move to the other cities. And then I think this is the best way to move forward, so that we can interact with the ministry back and forth, and a beautiful, efficient product should come out for the startups. I think we should do that, and we will do that.
Just building on your suggestion, and also this desire, which is something which I'll readily acknowledge, that this kind of an interaction should happen more often. I would suggest once this session, the second half of the budget session is over, if it is possible, first for all the co-work spaces in Delhi to have an interaction with the startup cell in my ministry. We'll have all the co-work spaces and the Commerce and Industry Ministry sit up with you and take things forward. I would suggest some date post the conclusion of the second half of the budget session. Post which we can of course look at the ways in which we can have co-work spaces together with you all from any other town, so that we can expand that operation. But in the meanwhile, if I get the inputs of all that has come today, I'll do my little bit before I come back to that session and see if there's anything that I can report back to you. Because I think it's important that some of these issues which you've raised are addressed in the meanwhile, or at least taken to the concerned ministries in the meanwhile, and build up momentum so that there is a need for us to also respond to all that you've said today. So
I just got a thought that we're talking about that application, right? So we can have other ministries also build their own application and probably have their APIs attached to that main startup cell, so that all those communication that one point of contact is that startup application, and then it goes to the respective ministries like that. So I think we can, by collaborating everyone together, by the co-workings, everything, we can make a very, very, very beautiful products which help the startups.